Hello everyone, good evening. So today we are going to learn a Pega application settings. Okay, so this is one of the important topic when we are working on integrations, especially when we are consuming any REST APIs, connector REST APIs or any APIs. Okay, because what happens when we do the development, okay, the endpoint URL for any environment will not be the same. Let's say that I'm consuming, if that like get the loan details API in the dev, okay, so the endpoint URL to get the data will be different in dev, different will be QA, and so on. So in productions it will be different. So how we can manage this different URL? Okay, so sometimes what happens, as of now, still we do the same thing. So what we do, we create a dynamic system settings, and then we create a DCR page or global resource settings page. Okay, okay, so data page, and from the dynamic system settings we fetch the value to the database we hold on a node level database, and from there we use it. Okay, so this is how we do. But the error chances is very high, because what happens when we move the code from dev to QA, okay, someone forgets to update the value, okay, that QA endpoint URL, QA endpoint URL, or this can happen in productions also, so we get error. So to resolve this kind of issue, Pega have come up with this application settings. Okay, so we'll see that how we can use it in this class. Okay, this won't take more than 10-15 minutes. So just watch the entire video and then you learn this whole things. Okay, so then this Pega application settings will help to resolve that gap. Okay, that updating one dynamic system settings for each environment, right? So the chances of error is high. So in this case, what happens, Pega application settings give an options to update, like in dev only gives an options to update your dynamic system gives an options to update your value, okay, for any REST connector or for any settings, okay, till prod. Like I'll show you the UI, okay, how it will look. Okay, so let me show you. If I'll show you, you'll understand that. So here, if I show you one application settings rule, so you'll understand that in dev only. So if you see, let me open this one. So you can see that here only for sandbox development, QA and stagings, and in production. So in dev environment only will be able to update all the settings value. Okay, so in that way the chances of error will be less. Okay, because once we, let's say if I move this one, okay, this PY exclude summary data, okay, then in by based on the environment settings, automatically it will fetch the value. Okay, so you don't have to worry. Okay, so how this will determine, so let's understand that this is, here we can see that sandbox development, environment quality, QA assurance, and staging and production. So how this gets determined, so while installing the Pega we set that value. So you can see that here we can see the development environment. Okay, so environment is development, so that means that this second value will be picked up. Okay, so while setting the Pega environment we said that, okay, this is QA, this is staging, or this is production. So based on that it will automatically fetch the value. So it will reduce the chances of updating your DSS, because what happens, we move the code very frequently. Some of the times what I have seen, I am giving a very real time example, that what happens that dynamic system settings, like we use dynamic system settings, right, to have that URL. So what happens that when I'm moving a code, and if I forget to exclude the data instances, the dynamic system settings will also move from dev to QA. Okay, and in that way, let's say you have the dynamic system settings for one endpoint URL. So you move, once you move it, okay, then in QA it will start calling the dev endpoint URL, and maybe it'll face some bug. Okay, because obviously it will try to connect to the dev endpoint URL, and okay, and the same things can happen in productions as well, if you're moving the code and if you forget to delete that. Okay, so to avoid that one, we can use application settings. Okay, so I hope you guys understood that, okay, why we use that. Pega have showcase here that you can see that the same thing Pega is saying, that in staging we have this 10 point, that URL service endpoint URL is 42.7. okay, but in productions it might be different. Okay, and the same thing it is saying for email configurations as well, that it can differ for productions. Okay, so it just explained for two environment if you read that. Okay, so let's create that and see that how we can use it. Okay, so and then we'll understand that other part from this topic. So we'll while creating, we'll learn this one supportable supported value type. So application settings supports text type, boolean, enumerated list, and class. So text and boolean is very looking very simpler, but I'll explain you what is enumerated list and class. I was searching some use case for class, but I didn't find. But I tried the POC and I understood that how we can use the class one as well. So I'll show you. So if you are getting any questions, I've seen some questions also. If you're getting that what kind of a data type or the value supported value we can use it, so definitely the answer will be text, boolean, enumerated list, and class. So let's go ahead and try to create it. Okay, so I'll create. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll simply go ahead and save as this one. You can create that, I mean, like where you'll find it. So first you need to understand where you'll find it. So you'll find under records, sysadmin, and application settings. Okay, so here owing rule set, so it is very similar to our dynamic system settings. So we have to give owing rule set, so we can give our applications rule set, or whatever the rule set you want to give. Okay, if you have any integrations one, you can use it. So I'll just use my applications rule set name. So I'll use loan app, and then here I'll say, let's say, weather endpoint. So we have one service from Pega. I just want to use for that one, weather endpoint. Okay, so let's create and open. So here you can see that, okay, so the value type has been already selected boolean, so we are getting an options of true and false. The moment if I'll change it to string, then I'll be getting an options to add a free text. So now we can add a free text, and here this is also category is very much important. So the importance of category is that based on this one we can like see that how many has been created for integrations or for that one. So basically it will categorize, it will help developers, okay, so that like we can fetch in one place. So you can see that here Pega platforms applications can have many application settings. Using categorizations, developer can group related application settings to simplify finding them and understanding their purpose. So it's basically for more for developers. Okay, so let's say I'll give this is for integration because we are going to use for integrations endpoint URL, and Pega has already given a REST service, REST connector. So I'll open that one, REST connector. So let's see how we can use in that one. So this one, weather and cities. So if I'll open this one, you can see here that this service has been developed in older version. That is why it's saying upgrade to new endpoint in configuration. So the moment if I'll click here, it's saying that you can use provide URL or you can use application settings. So here this endpoint, so this resource path will be fixed. Okay, it's a dev or productions. Okay, but if you want to give the whole path also in application settings, you can do that. So instead of having this one in here hard coded, we can use application settings. So let's see how we can do that. So we can give here. Okay, so first let me save as this okay, in loan app, and then from here what we can say, okay, we can say the one which we were creating, okay, weather endpoint. So let's give this that one here. See, the error is gone. Okay, if your other warning is there, but that is for different. Okay, that is for TSL. Okay, and you can see that resource path like if you want to hard code, that also we can do, or we can keep that like here in resource path. So now what we can do, okay, let me refresh this one. So we can copy this value and come to this this one, and we can say that in standpoint use this value, in development use this value, but in QA maybe you will use something else. Okay, so the value will be little different, let's say HTTPS. Okay, and in staging something else. So in this way you can like segregate that. Okay, and automatically, so here it's saying select category. So integration, I think integration category is not there, that is where it's coming. So let's see how we can create an application settings category. One second, let me select this one, and then I'll open this one, and you can create a category as well. So it's a, so see, this is integration category. So let's create remote application. So I'll be creating integrations one. This is like integration and remote also, it's fine. So integration, I can just simply say integration, and I'm creating one category. Yeah, so we created integrations category. Now we can give parent category ID as well, but we don't want to go to that deep. Okay, so now if I click here, we can see the integration. So now it got saved. Okay, so now how we can use it. So you can see that if I'll run this one now, then it will automatically fetch the value based on the environment settings. So you can see that we have a dev. Okay, so it will fetch this value, it will fetch this https. Okay, let's say here I'll make dev auto something like that. Okay, so let's see that I'll try to run that service and show you. Okay, so which one it will pick. So let me do a test connectivity and trace it, and let's see which endpoint URL it's picking. It's taking, see, it's taking this one, that dev auto complete. So you understood that, right? That we are fetching from here. So there is like from the beginning only we have given these all endpoints URL. Okay, so when we are moving code, okay, then automatically it would take. Okay, so we don't have to take care of updating that dynamic system setting. So that is the benefit. Okay, so now here, like here we are giving, but still if you, let's say if you still want to use that, okay, the previous approach, that okay, if you want to have DSS as well, so in that case you can use still you can use that, no issues. Let's say you want to some refer some data pages. Okay, like as I explained, right, in like still we use DSS, and DSS will get the value using data pages. So let's say if you want to use the DSS, still we can do that. If you read that Pega documentations, Pega is also saying that we can still use global resource syntaxes. So basically we can give I'll show you how. So we can do it like this. Just let me take any data page. Okay, data page, just for example. Okay, so let's say we have a loan settings data page. Okay, so in this one we have some settings, so we can just simply come and use like this, and then py label. So then automatically the value will come from here. So that dynamically we can also use it. Okay, so either way, whatever you want to use, okay, it's giving the full flexibility. If you want to hardcode the value, you can use hardcode value as well. If you want to fetch from the dynamic system settings, sorry, from data page, okay, and then and in data page you are setting the value from dynamic system settings. In that way also you can do. So you are free to do that. Now let's understand that about the other types as well. So we saw strings and booleans, sorry, string and text. Let's select boolean. So in case of boolean, so it's giving true and false to select. Okay, so that also we can use it. So definitely in case of integrations also we can use these settings. Let's say if you want, if you're passing some parameters, or if you want to use for in your some applications logic calculations, that in dev this should be true. Like we create some dynamic system settings, right? So that we can remove with this one, that like let's say we do like, okay, get the value from this system or something like that. In dev this will be true, so that will not be making a call, but in productions this should be false, something like that. So that kind of a settings also you can keep. Okay, the third one is enumerated list. So enumerated list is nothing, is just giving an options that we will add it, and from this list only, okay, people can select the value. So you can see that we are getting a drop down here, but there is no value. So if I'll just add a test 1, test 2, and test 3. So this is like a prompt list, and from this one only we can add the value. So from these three things only we can select the value. So let's say first one is we are selecting text, and in the second one we can select test 2, and the third one we can select test 3. Okay, so that is the usage of enumerated list, is basically giving an options. Okay, instead of adding a free text, okay, add that possible value and select value, okay, from that possible value. Okay, so that is how we can do it. Okay, now the last one, okay, here, that class. Okay, so this is very much important. Okay, I mean I was searching some documentation but didn't find it. Okay, so learn this one, how we can use this one. Okay, so just take an example that instead of using like let's think let's take an example that you have a data class, and in that data class you have some settings. Okay, and one row you created for dev. Okay, that if if you're fetching that row, let me show you. I have created a sample data types as well. So loan settings. So just imagine that you have some settings, okay. For that you have created a data type, okay, and in that data types you have mentioned that, okay, if I'm fetching the first row, then this setting should get applied for dev, and if I'm fetching second row, then this should get applied for QA, and then third one is for IST or staging, and then final one is for productions, okay. So you want, okay, you want to give that key, okay, that first row means that py label 1 or py id, or that pzdynamics key 1, pzdynamics key 2, pzdynamics key 3, and so on. So you can see that this credit score and amount, okay. So credit score is same, but amount is varying based on environment. So here I'm saying that, okay, fetch the data when I'm like applying some loan settings, fetch the data 1 in production, in development, fetch the data 2 for QA, and fetch the data 3 for prod, okay. So how you can do that? So you cannot hard code this value, okay. So let's say what we'll do, okay, we'll fetch this value through application settings, and then we'll browse this table, or we'll do a lookup of this table and get the value and apply and put the logic in your code, okay. So if you want to do that, how we can do using application settings? So let's come to application settings, and here we can give the same class. So here we can give the same class, and then let's save it. And here what we have to give the value, okay, of that key. Let me show you. See, it got saved. So what will happen, okay, when you run this, okay, this application, when you try to fetch the value for this application settings in sandbox, you'll get 1, in development 2, and in QA 3. By fetching this value, now what you can do, you can go to this table and fetch the settings details, more setting details, and apply in your code, okay. So that is how you can use the class one as well. So we learned 3 types of, let's review again, okay. The value type, string text is very clear, boolean is also clear, enumerated list is like basically we are giving a possible value, and from that one we will give give an options to fetch the value. And then class is, okay, that you have some data classes in which you have multiple instances, and then you want to fetch that the instance ID, and based on that you want to fetch the complete details of that instance and apply, okay. So in that one, in that way you can just give that key, okay, that I want to fetch with this key in prod, and this key in non-prod, so something like that you can do. So here if I save it, okay, so see I'm getting, because 4 is not there valid setting, so that is where I'm getting an issue, and I'll be getting for 6 as well, because see it's validating also, because we have only 1 2 3, so we can, the possible value will be 1 2 3 only, so we can just use 1 2 3. So I hope you got it, and how you can use it. Let me know if you have any doubt on this one, okay. Now let's understand it how we can fetch this value, okay. So the one way I showed you that yes we can use it in one way I showed you that we can use it for URL configuration. The second is that here, let's say I want to use for response timeout. Here's 30,000 is there. Now I want to use fetch the value from the application settings, okay, or in connection ID. So how we can do that? So for that, Pega have provided one data page. So we need to use this data page, okay. So let me open this data page and run and show you. So basically we can use it anywhere like this. Let's go to this one, and we can use it like this data page, and then in this one we can pass that the value, okay. So we have a 2 parameter, owing rule set and purpose, and then it will apply, okay. So I hope you know how to call the database with parameterized, okay, parameterized database. So I'll not apply here, but I'll show you how we can call retrieve the value. So let's try to run this one, okay. And before that, what we'll do, we'll save this one. So now let me pass this, okay. So loan app is owing rule set, so, and then the settings name is weather endpoint. Now let me trace. A tracing is not required, but let's run it. So see, we got that settings 2, okay. You can see that, okay. Now if I come to dev, we can see that setting 2, because our this environment is matching. Now I'll change this one to enumerated list as well. Let me run, and so I can select some value, test 1, test 2. Let me run again, okay. So we should, this time we should say test 2. So see, we got test 2. If I'll use for the boolean, and then if I'll not give anything, then obviously I'll be getting false. See, false. So this one we can refer anywhere in our applications, okay, be it in connector for timed out or for any other settings, or if you want to apply in other places in our logic, so that also we can do it. Okay, so let's review that what we learned. We learned that usage, okay, introductions and usage, and also we saw that supported value type. Okay, we learned how to create and apply. Apply is basically we tried one in resource sorry, in REST connector. Okay, and then also apply is like we can use that the out of the box data page, this data page, d underscore get application set, get d underscore get application settings value. Okay, and we can use this in anywhere. Okay, be it in your data transform, or if you have any activity or anywhere you can use this and fetch the value. So basically it's a parameterized data page. And then final point is learn to use global resource syntax. Yes, I showed you that how we can use that. Okay, so instead of value, like instead of hard coded value, if you want to use the dynamic system, dynamically, okay, then you can use the syntax. You can give equal and database and then dot property name. So in that way also you can fetch the value. Now one more thing is left is that what is the usage of this category. So let's see that. Okay, so I have created one for integration, so where you can see that. Okay, if you want to see in one place, so navigate it to App Studio, and here somewhere we should see that. Okay, settings, let me see, and then here we can see that, see, application settings. Okay, so if you come to App Studio and in settings and then application settings, so you can see that we have one remote settings. Okay, let's see that why ours one is not coming. So let me save that. Ideally that should also come, remote settings, integrations name is there. Maybe I have to log off and log in. Okay, let me do it once. Let me navigate it to App Studio and settings. Okay, so let's check the settings, application settings. Yes, still it's not showing. Ideally it should show integration. So here we can see that. Okay, so in under remote applications we are seeing that, right? So we are seeing nothing. Okay, ideally our integration setting should also come. Okay, I need to see if I need to refresh some data page or something, but yeah, that here only we can see. Okay, in App Studio. So I think we have covered most of the topic on this one. So just try and let me know, because this is important topics more. So thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye.